Giza, Egypt, bustled with life. Amidst the vibrant streets and ancient wonders lived a man named Gamel. To the world, he was an unassuming figure, blending seamlessly into the tapestry of everyday life. He owned a small shop, a modest enterprise that provided him with a livelihood. His days were filled with the mundane routines of running a business. Gamel was a familiar face in the neighborhood. He greeted his neighbors with a warm smile, exchanging pleasantries and local gossip. No one suspected the darkness that lurked beneath the surface. Gamel was a master of deception, his true nature hidden behind a carefully constructed facade. Gamel had a knack for putting people at ease. He possessed a certain charisma, an ability to make those around him feel comfortable. He would engage in conversations with genuine interest, listening attentively to their stories and concerns. His friendly demeanor disarmed even the most guarded individuals. He was known to lend a helping hand to those in need, offering assistance without hesitation. Behind his gentle facade, however, lay a mind capable of unspeakable acts. As the years passed, a subtle shift occurred in the atmosphere of Giza. Whispers of missing persons, once a rarity, became more frequent, like a disquieting chorus carried on the desert wind. It started subtly: a shopkeeper who failed to open his store one morning, a young woman who disappeared on her way home from the market. At first, these disappearances were dismissed as isolated incidents. But as the disappearances increased in frequency, a sense of dread began to seep into the heart of the community. The authorities, initially dismissive, found themselves facing a growing number of missing person reports. The missing individuals came from all walks of life: young, old, rich, poor, men and women. The police launched investigations, but each case seemed to hit a dead end. Witnesses were scarce, evidence was scant, and leads quickly turned cold. One particularly haunting case involved a young woman named Layla. She was a vibrant and beloved member of the community, known for her infectious laughter and her kind heart. One evening, Layla left her home to meet a friend at the market, but she never arrived. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months, but there was no sign of Layla. The police followed every lead, interviewed countless people, but Layla had vanished without a trace. Her case, like many others, grew cold, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions. As the disappearances continued, a palpable sense of fear settled over Giza. The once familiar streets now seemed menacing, the shadows longer and more ominous. People became more cautious, more wary of strangers, and more protective of their loved ones. The fabric of community, once so vibrant and interconnected, began to fray at the edges. The disappearances had sown seeds of doubt and suspicion, eroding the sense of trust that had once bound the community together. Giza, once a place of warmth and vibrancy, was slowly being consumed by an undercurrent of fear. The disappearance of Samir, a well-respected businessman and a former associate of Gamel's, sent shockwaves through the community. Samir was known for his honesty and integrity, making his sudden vanishing all the more perplexing. He had last been seen in the company of Gamel, discussing a potential business deal. The police, already under immense pressure to solve the string of disappearances, found themselves with a crucial lead. As investigators began to delve into Gamel's past, they uncovered a trail of inconsistencies and contradictions. His seemingly straightforward life began to unravel, revealing a tapestry woven with deceit and manipulation. Documents were found to be falsified, identities fabricated, and his movements over the years suggested a pattern of deliberate evasion. Gamel, when questioned, maintained his innocence, his demeanor calm and collected. The investigation into Gamel's background revealed a history of aliases, forged documents, and unexplained absences. It became clear that he had taken great care in concealing his true identity and movements. The police discovered that Gamel had lived in several different cities throughout his life, always leaving abruptly and under a cloud of suspicion. Each move seemed to coincide with a disappearance in the area, a chilling pattern that sent chills down the spines of the investigators. Despite the mounting evidence, Gamel remained unfazed. He continued to deny any involvement in the disappearances, his facade of innocence barely holding together under the scrutiny of the investigators. The investigation took a dramatic turn when the police obtained a warrant to search Gamel's properties. The community, once skeptical, watched with a mixture of fear and morbid curiosity as the authorities descended upon Gamel's unassuming home and shop. The image of Gamel being escorted by the police, his face now etched with a flicker of panic, became a haunting image that spread like wildfire through the community. Inside Gamel's home, investigators made a series of gruesome discoveries. Hidden beneath the floorboards of his basement, they unearthed a makeshift chamber, its entrance concealed by a rug and a carefully placed bookshelf. As the investigators pried open the chamber door, a wave of nausea swept over them. The chamber was small and cramped, its walls stained with what appeared to be blood. The floor was bare earth, and in the center lay a gruesome tableau, the skeletal remains of several individuals, their bones scattered and jumbled together. The medical examiner determined that the remains belonged to multiple victims, both male and female. The cause of death varied, but all showed signs of foul play. The discovery of the chamber sent shockwaves through Giza. Gamel, the unassuming shopkeeper, the friendly face in the crowd, was a monster in disguise. The discovery of the chamber beneath Gamel's basement was just the beginning. As investigators fanned out across his property, they uncovered a chilling network of hidden rooms and secret compartments, each more horrifying than the last. One room, located off a narrow passage behind a false wall in the kitchen, was outfitted as a makeshift torture chamber. Rusty chains hung from the ceiling, and a collection of sharp implements lay scattered across a table. Bloodstains darkened with time painted a gruesome picture on the floor. Another room, accessible through a trapdoor cleverly hidden beneath a rug in Gamel's living room, contained a large freezer. Inside, investigators made a discovery that sent chills down their spines. Among the chilling discoveries in Gamel's house was a collection of tools that spoke volumes about his modus operandi. In a locked chest tucked away in the attic, investigators found an assortment of knives, each sharpened to a razor's edge. Some were large and heavy, designed for dismemberment, while others were smaller and more delicate. Alongside the knives were a variety of other implements: pliers, saws, hammers, tools that had once been used for mundane tasks, but had been repurposed for unimaginable acts of violence. Gamel, it seemed, had taken pride in his work, treating his gruesome acts with a chilling detachment. The discovery of these tools provided a glimpse into the mind of a monster. As the investigators continued their grim task of cataloguing the horrors within Gamel's house, they made a discovery that shook them to their core. Among the remains found in the freezer, they identified the body of a young woman named Layla, the same Layla who had vanished without a trace months earlier. Layla's family, who had clung to hope for her safe return, was devastated by the news. The confirmation of her fate, the realization that she had been a victim of the monster living among them, shattered their world. Layla had been a close friend of Gamel's, someone who had trusted him implicitly. The community, once united in their fear and uncertainty, was now consumed by grief and anger. Section 4. The weight of evidence. The evidence against Gamel was overwhelming. The discovery of the hidden rooms, the gruesome collection of tools, and the identification of Layla's body painted a horrifying picture of a serial killer who had operated with impunity for years.
Gamel, once a master of deception, was now a prisoner of his own making. The walls he had so carefully constructed around himself had crumbled, revealing the monster within. His carefully crafted facade of normalcy had been shattered, replaced by the chilling reality of his crimes.
The weight of evidence, the sheer volume of horror unearthed within the walls of his own home, left no room for doubt. Gamel, the unassuming shopkeeper, the friendly face in the crowd, was the Butcher of Giza, a predator who had terrorized their community for far too long. As Gamel was led away in handcuffs, his face a mask of fear and desperation, the community he had terrorized watched with a mixture of relief, anger, and a profound sense of betrayal. The nightmare was finally over, but the scars left by the Butcher of Giza would forever mark their lives. The news of Gamel's arrest spread like wildfire through Giza and beyond. The man who had once been a nondescript figure was now the subject of headlines and hushed whispers. The trial of Gamel, dubbed the Butcher of Giza, captivated the nation. The courtroom overflowed with families of the victims, their faces etched with grief and anger.
We came seeking justice, but seeing him there, so detached, it's like he's not even human.
Journalists from every corner of the globe flocked to document the proceedings. The weight of evidence against Gamel was overwhelming, a macabre tapestry woven from the bones of his victims. Throughout the trial, Gamel remained an enigma, his demeanor as unassuming as ever. As the trial progressed, the prosecution presented a meticulous case, laying bare the depths of Gamel's depravity. Witnesses, some trembling with fear, others fueled by anger, took the stand to recount their encounters with the man they had once considered a friend.
They spoke of his charm, his ability to disarm and manipulate, gaining their trust before betraying them in the most horrific way imaginable.
The courtroom became a stage for their pain, their anger, their desperate need for justice to be served. Outside the courtroom, the city of Giza held its breath, the trial of Gamel casting a long shadow over the once vibrant streets. In an attempt to understand the depths of Gamel's depravity, the court called upon a renowned psychiatrist, Dr. Omar Hassan, to conduct a psychological evaluation of the accused. Dr. Hassan, a man who had spent his career delving into the darkest recesses of the human psyche, approached the task with a mixture of professional curiosity and a deep unease.
Over the course of several sessions, Dr. Hassan engaged Gamel in a series of interviews and assessments, probing his past, his motivations, and his complete lack of remorse. Gamel, however, remained an enigma, his responses measured, his affect flat, his eyes betraying no hint of the horrors he had inflicted.
Dr. Hassan, in his testimony before the court, painted a chilling portrait of a man devoid of empathy, a man who saw others as objects to be manipulated and discarded at will. Gamel, he concluded, was a psychopath, his actions driven by a cold, calculating need for control and a complete absence of conscience.
The label psychopath, with its connotations of chilling detachment and remorseless violence, seemed wholly inadequate to encompass the depths of Gamel's crimes, yet it was the only explanation that fit the monstrous puzzle before them.
The weight of evidence and chilling testimony left the jury with little choice. They returned with a unanimous verdict, guilty on all counts. A collective gasp echoed through the courtroom, followed by heavy silence.
For the families, the verdict brought bittersweet closure. Justice was served, but it couldn't erase their pain.
Gamel showed no emotion as the verdict was read. The judge sentenced Gamel to death, echoing the desire for justice. The trial of Gamel, the Butcher of Giza, came to an end, but its impact on the city and its people would linger for years to come. The streets, once filled with vibrant energy, now carried a palpable sense of unease. The community grappled with the chilling reality of Gamel's crimes, realizing that evil could lurk beneath ordinary facades. Trust was shattered, replaced by suspicion and fear of the unknown. Parents held their children closer, hearts heavy with the darkness that touched their city. The story of Gamel became a cautionary tale, a chilling reminder that evil could wear many faces.